about mission and vision. So I think that everything else will fall in place if we're able to identify that. And I find myself in a similar position than you. You're like, I don't think I've clearly identified what my mission and vision are. So I think we need to do that, and then everything else will be irrelevant. Why? Because ultimately, we're all dead. Everyone here will die. Some soon rather than later, but that's 100% guaranteed.
Taking away the moments that make up the dull day. Fritter and waste the hours in an off and way.
Welcome everyone to the Bewilder Herd podcast. So awesome to see you guys here this morning. And yes, for us it is morning because today's episode is really early in the morning for the West Coast and mid-morning for the East Coast. And so today I am joined by my three lovely friends, Gian, Edgar, and Carlos. Gentlemen, how's it going? How's the morning treating you? Yeah.
This is good. Mumble.
I feel you guys because it is early. And that's actually kind of the topic that we're going to talk about today. One of the reasons why I like this idea of doing it early is because today's topic is going to be about time. Time has been something that I've been thinking about a lot, but more in the sense of time management of our daily handling of time. And so I kind of wanted to bring that conversation. And just like last episode, I wanted it to be a discussion. It's not really a presentation. But let me just kind of give you a quick intro on why I was thinking about this. So kind of like I was talking to Carlos like earlier, I've always been a person that has had a different timing structure than a lot of your typical person living in this country. I would always go to sleep really late and wake up really late. But even though I wasn't a morning person, I always had a nice little schedule, a nice little routine, you know? And so now, 20 years later, I'm finding myself really struggling to maintain a nice timing structure. Sometimes I wake up early, like today. Sometimes I can't wake up early, but I stay up late. But regardless of what time I wake up or not, like my whole day is shot. So if I wanted to do A, B, and C, sometimes I can only do A, you know? Or maybe I can't even do none of them. So I kind of have three big questions for today's episode. I just kind of wanted to see if I could get some of your guys' tips on how to manage your day to day, how to do your routines, and then after that, it's just kind of asking about just in general, like how time is seen today in our society. Lately, I've been thinking that because of the amount of work that we do and the amount of just things that are so demanding in our lives, that I don't think money is really the currency of today, but I think time is the new currency. Time is the new valuable asset, you want to say it like that, that we have. And mainly because time is non-renewable. Time is not like once it's gone, right? So let me start with the first question, guys. How important is time management for any of you? Is it important? Is it something that you think is just made up by some conspiracy theorists? What do you guys think? Do you think it's important for a person to have some sort of time management?
Well, I'd just like to say that conspiracy theories don't have a lot to do with time management, in my opinion.
Well, some people would say
Full,
otherwise.
full disclosure, I'm not an expert on this subject, and it's something that I struggle with and want to get better at. And for me, the way I prioritize my time is trying to keep front and center what my goals are and just chip away at them. And that's basically it.
That's very true. I mean, I don't consider aliens as part of the conspiracy for time management. It is, like Carlos said, it is difficult to kind of manage time, and I struggle with it every day. I try to prioritize things that are important to me. So family being one, meeting deadlines, trying to be punctual. It's changed over the years, where priorities have shifted. It used to be gym. You go to the gym at 8 o'clock. You got to be there by 7:55. You got to put your gym bag away, put it in the locker, et cetera, et cetera. You start at 8, leave at 9:30, that sort of thing. Now it's changed to the point where I just got, what are my kids' schedules? What are the extracurriculars? Is there an activity in the next couple weeks? Do we start planning 6 weeks ahead for a vacation? That sort of thing. That's where my
Wow.
time management goes now.
Okay.
I think for me, Hoser, time management means prioritizing your life's purpose and goals, kind of like what Carlos was saying. And I keep mentioning a bunch of podcasts before that everybody needs to have like a mission statement and a vision for what your purpose is. And anything that falls outside of that, you got to say no. So time management doesn't mean being busy. It means selecting like what is actually worth your time doing. So like way before I learned this concept, I would say yes to a lot of things. Like, yes, I'll help you out with that. Yes, I'll take on that assignment at work or whatever. And if someone told me like, can you do some coaching soccer? I would say like, oh shit, no, dude, I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. Or same with the mentees, like helping some of the students. I would say like, no, where is the time? Like, I don't have the time. So now that I did that exercise on creating my vision and mission and like what my purpose is, then it becomes easy. I say no to the things that are like, yeah, this doesn't align with my personal purpose, but taking on a mentee does. So I will make sure to schedule, like I just had a meeting yesterday with one of my mentees. I made time for that. I make time for the coaching. The gym too is really important. My health. Those are the things I say yes, and I fill my schedule with those things. I already know what time I'm gonna do those. And then other extra assignments that don't align with that, like I don't know, some project that is like one time there was a project that they were trying to make me do that was collaborating with the border patrol to build them a new facility. And that didn't align with my purpose. I did everything I could to like get out of the project. I was like, oh, I got too many projects. Like, this is not gonna work out for my team. Like, so at the end of the day, they didn't give it to me, but it didn't align with like what I was doing, and I fought really hard at work to like not get that project. So if you look at my calendar, everything's filled up with only the things that matter to me, even at work, and that's what like time management is to me. Saying no to the things that are not important, but you won't know unless you do the exercise that I was talking about, the mission, vision, and purpose.
So let me ask you something. Would you say you struggle with time management?
Me?
Just that statement. Yeah. Right now.
No, I'd say
Yeah.
no.
And yeah, and I would agree with you because it's so funny because what Gian and Carlos was saying, where they're like, yeah, I struggle, but all of you said the same word, which is priorities. And I kind of like how Edgar was saying, like, it almost seems like you were saying, like, it's not about time management, it's about your goals and your vision and what you care about, what you want to prioritize, right? It's doing what you want to do, which aligns with your values, right?
Yeah, like you said, you only have a limited amount of time, and so you fill it up with the things that matter to you. I think the reason a lot of people are busy is because they just say yes to everything, and they fill it up with like things that are not important to them.
But don't you think, like, okay, so priorities, everyone said priorities. So what about when priorities change? I mean, like Gian was saying, first there was a gym and now these priorities are different. What happens there? How does one quickly adjust so your schedule doesn't go all haywire, you know? And I say that because one of the things I've struggled with is, I mean, it was so easy when we were in school to have some sort of time management structure, right? Because they tell you this is the time of your class, this is your time of your test. And so you know that at a certain time, that's the only time you have allotted to study, right? Makes sense. But then when you're working and no one's telling you when to prepare or when to do other things, it can mess up your routine. So how do you get back into a routine, into a method where you're back again into saying, okay, during this block, I'm going to do this. During this block, I'm going to do that.
I really think that goals have something to do with what we're talking about here. And I'll speak for myself saying that I have few goals that I can actually work on and accomplish. And then I have a bunch of other goals that are wishes, that are things I would like to do, but I don't have a plan and I'm not absolutely committed to achieving. And so recently I achieved a goal. I shared it with all of you. I ran a half marathon, and that kind of comes easy to me because of exercise and because I've been an amateur athlete my whole life. but there are some other goals that always seem just beyond my reach. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of what you're presenting to me sounds like a lack of goals.
Mm-hmm.
And the example you gave, you had goals that were very clear during school.
Mm-hmm.
You get your ass to class, you learn, you do okay on the test, you pass the class, and you fulfill a certain amount of credits to get that degree to get a job. Very clear cut, defined goals. And now, what goal do you have? Get your
Mm-hmm.
ass on time to work, do what you need to do at work, clock out, and then it's open ended. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's your initiative to what you do or what you don't want to do with your life. And so now is where I see it starts getting murky. And you're not alone. I think a lot of us are in that position and we sedate ourselves with whatever it is we like, sports, with beer, with TV, you name it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it goes higher than goals though. Like you said, he has a goal to get to work on time, but the why is missing. Like why get to work on time? Like why is it important to you? What is the mission that you're trying to accomplish? What is your
Not
purpose
starve,
in life?
pay your mortgage, get food.
Now, okay, oh,
That's not
sorry,
good
Ken.
enough. That's just like,
Go.
okay, so I don't get fired, right?
Wait,
But
are you talking about what is the definition of on time? Are you saying basically in college you select your schedule, you have an 8 o'clock class, 7:30 class, 9 o'clock class, so you know what you have to be there at 9 o'clock to
Mm-hmm.
understand the lecture,
Mm-hmm.
and then you graduate, you go to work. Is it because work is flexible, where their hours aren't 9 to 5, and you get to actually select your own schedule? Is that the reason why you're having
Right.
difficulty with your scheduling?
Well, when you had outside time from class, it wasn't really outside time, right? Because you knew you had to study to do well in these classes, right? Here
Nay,
at work,
I had a whoop Halo, whoop Carlo and Edgar's ass in Halo. They know it.
exactly, yeah. But what I'm saying is like after see, because people would say, "Oh, well, you still have a 8 hour job, right? Whether it's flexible or not." But then after that, it's kind of like, well, what do I do? You don't really need to study to go to work, right? Once you figure out how work goes, that's it, right? Or people start saying, "Well, I'm not gonna do extra. I'm not gonna give them more of my time. Sure, 8 hours and I'm done." So then, what do you do for the rest of the what is it, 16 hours that you have left? So, and it's kind of like if all your life you've been kind of structured in a certain way, when you get hit like right away with of some free time, you're like, what do I do with my time? Like, and I feel like there it's like trying to like you start going all off, and then this is why I feel, and this is why then kids and people are like, oh, what do I do? Let's travel. Yeah, let's go explore the world, because they don't really know what the heck is going on. They don't know what to do with their time, so they're just trying to find something to
wait,
kind of.
those are people that know what to do with their time. Like the let's travel. That seems like a good. And then you're right, Hoser. You do have a lot of time after work because let's say you sleep for 8 hours, you work for 8 hours. That means you have
16.
a whole another 8 hours of what you call free time, right? And yeah, most people after work are like, oh, I don't have time to do anything, so they just like watch TV. But not, you really do have a lot of time. That's like 8 hours to fill.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
but
all.
let me ask you a question, Hoser. So it seems like college was very easy for you because
In
you're
terms of
saying that
time
it was
management,
like very
in
time
times,
managed or
yeah,
whatever. In terms of
yeah.
time management,
Well, it was easy because someone. Sometimes I feel like it's because someone told me what to do, so I was like, okay, like
you knew what to do. But can I ask you, why did you decide to go to college?
because they took like because I was encouraged to go to college, and and then I wanted to go to college.
What were you hoping to accomplish?
I was, I think I was hoping to accomplish to get a degree in a career that would make money. That's what I wanted to do. But ideally, it was because I wanted to get money, and I think Carlos and I had talked to this in the past, where it's like I went to college because I wanted a better degree. I mean, I wanted a better job than what my parents had, so I can be more financially stable, right?
There you go. So that sounds like purpose. You had purpose during college, right? You had a goal to get your degree because you wanted to make money, you want to help people out, you want to be in a better situation than your parents.
Yeah.
I remember the discussion you're saying, Hauser, and I think I
Oh yeah.
remember it was your mom who told you, like, you need to go to school. You need to get prepared. And I gave you my translation for it. You need to go get educated so that you serve the ruling class and that they compensate you a little better for what they compensated us, which
But
is true.
see,
Which is
but
true.
see,
You're more technical. You learned calculus. You learned, electrical engineering. You
mhm.
get your time is worth more than someone who doesn't have the skill set. But then, is that where your mission and vision ends? It's like, oh, like I'm financially stable. I'm better off than I was growing up.
So it still fits with the, well, if that aligned with your mission or vision, sure, then you can continue on, right? And you'll be it, and it would have, like, if after college maybe I would have, my mission and vision would have still stayed very, either it would have been more
You just need a
visible.
new one, Hoser, because you accomplished it already. It's like you have the job now. You're financially stable. So now what?
And so you're saying
You're
that
lost.
once I acquired that, then I can manage my time better, right? That's what you're saying.
Once you get a purpose, yeah,
Okay.
it
So
becomes really easy. Actually, like you'll be like, nah, this doesn't align. Nope.
so
Yeah, this one for sure aligns with my like vision.
okay. So then let's go back a little bit with the terms of time. So let's say once we get a new vision and mission, how do you, there has to be some sort of habit or a scheduling of some sort, right? To accomplish this mission and vision, right? It's not just like, I want to do this. I want to travel the world. Yeah. And just, I'm not going to just wake up today at 6 a.m. and be like, I want to travel. I want to do great things for the world. No, right? You have to like schedule your time, right? So how do you do that?
So the book I read, the 4 Hour Work Week, has a lot of like time management. It's a really good book. But the number one thing, two things. Number one is the hardest thing that you need to do is the one you should do first. And if there's anything you're procrastinating, that is probably the most important thing that you should do. For a lot of people, it's the gym. It's like, fuck. They have that as a goal. They want to get healthy or whatever, but like they procrastinate the gym because it's like, oh my God. But if your body's telling you to procrastinate it, then that is the most important thing. And that is what you should do first. So do the hardest thing first. And that goes for work too. Sometimes when you get at work, you get like hard task and you're like, this one's too hard. Let me tackle some easy ones first. But no, the book says do the one that is hard. And then the second thing is to write everything down. Like you get things in your head that you're like, oh shit, I got to take care of that. Don't keep it in your head. As soon as you think of something, just write it down. Because if you write it down, then it becomes an action item. You can cross it off the list. But the feeling of being lost, of like, I don't have time management, could come from having too many things in your head that you need to take care of and you did not write them down. So just writing things down will lessen that burden in your mind of like, oh, I have too many things to do.
I guess, Edgar, does that kind of go into feeling overwhelmed with all these tasks? If you're just thinking about everything, let's say you have 10 items that you need to complete. If you think you need to complete them all at once, you get overwhelmed, and that starts to lead into being procrastination. I know this happens to me here at home too. It's 10 chores, 10 errands, 10 activities. You get overwhelmed, and you just want to sit down and kind of bundle up, not want to do anything. So I do agree that we would have to write these items down, almost like a checklist, and try to knock out some of the items just to start going down, go from
The
10.
hardest ones first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what Edgar says, I relate to. I read it on a book called The Mind for Numbers, and it's kind of meant as a user's guide to your brain on how to learn more efficiently. And part of the topics that are discussed are procrastination and just, getting organized and getting things done. One of the things that she recommends, her name is Barbara Oakley. I think she's like a computer engineering professor up in the Bay Area, is Sunday, write a list of about 20 items you want to accomplish in the week. Just like 20 things max that you want to get done in your week. And you write them down Sunday. And then the night before the next day, make a list, like Edgar mentioned, of like 3 to 4 things that you want to accomplish. And you rank them, you prioritize them. And then there's a whole nother art of what makes a good to-do list. Of being like really specific, of giving time estimates, listing the resources you need to get the items done, and kind of making a schedule around your goals for the day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with Carlos because if you don't write it down, don't put dates on it, don't put action items, and it's all like swirling in your head, then you get stuck with analysis. It's called analysis paralysis, where you're like, oh my God, it's all in your head. Like, I got too many things to do. I don't know what to do. So what do people end up doing? They fucking go on like Instagram, TikTok, and just waste time because they're procrastinating. And then that eats up more of your time. And now you're like more
stressed, more
stressed
anxious.
out. Yeah. So it's like a vicious cycle. And a lot of people fall into that.
I heard if you're procrastinating, do something else, and then do something else like that you don't want to do, and because you don't want to do it, then it's gonna make your brain want to do something, like do something that it's already been used to, and so it's gonna want to do whatever you were procrastinating to do. So I guess it's like tricking your mind, kind of like what Gian was saying, like, when that it's all about the mind, right?
I
It's a
mean, what you're
mind
saying
thing.
kind of reminds me of the gym. And speaking of the gym, I want to ask Gian a quick question. Are you still going to the gym?
I haven't gone in like 3 weeks.
Okay.
I
So
saw
that,
some results. I saw some results. I saw my strength. I mean, obviously not as it used to be. I'm getting older. I haven't been in years, but I felt good actually doing it.
yeah,
I didn't see the results of like weight loss or anything, but I felt strength gains.
yeah. So that brings me back to goals, right? Like in my opinion, you don't have as a goal your fitness. It's relegated to other things that, in my mind, put your priorities with your family first. And there's nothing wrong with that. But just being aware of that, I think, is really helpful. And what I was gonna say, connecting to what you mentioned, Hoser, of like switching gears and doing something else, I mentioned the gym because you can't be doing a task all day. It's not effective. It's like if you were
Hmm.
to go to the gym and you would do squats for your whole workout. You just burn out. You just burn out your quads, your glutes,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work out that way. You need to do squats and then you do them for a certain amount of sets and reps. You take breaks and then you switch to deadlifts,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you do deadlifts in an analogous way. You do some sets, some reps, and then you switch it up with core and you work out your core for a given amount of time. And so the brain, is a muscle in a analogous way. You can't just be programming all day. You can't just be on your email all day. Otherwise, you'll just burn out and not be
So
as effective.
you're doing a high degree, right? You're doing a PhD, right? How do you stop yourself from doing one task one day? Because you can do all day research, right? Writing, especially when you do conferences. Then how do you maintain this, like a schedule for that? Like, do you have like a time block where you say like, hey, I'm only studying from 7 to noon, and then, or how do you do it?
Yeah, this is something I struggle with. So when I go in there, I don't check my email. I open the terminal and I open, my programming environment and I start doing what Edgar mentioned, which is the most difficult thing, the most important thing, the thing that consumes the most of my mental energy. And then what I usually end up doing is I'm able to do that for maybe, 3 hours, 4 hours. After that, I'm just kind of burnt out. And something I need to improve is recognize when I'm approaching that limit and switch gears. Like I just said, like, oh, now I need to catch up on the literature. Now I need to see what the literature is saying and how my research fits into it. And this is something that I struggle with.
Do you struggle with the catching yourself that you're going too much?
Yeah, and
Because
I mean, I think I'm aware of it, but it's just the desire to keep pushing through to having something concrete and tangible that I
yeah.
accomplished.
Yeah, and then especially you guys, like Gian and Edgar and Carlos, like you guys are athletes. Gian's in the gym, Edgar and Carlos, you've done soccer. I think like sports. One of the cool things about sports is that it kind of teaches someone to push through adversity. Right? Hey, this doesn't feel good. Hey, I'm losing, but I gotta push until until either I win or I complete my goal. Right? But sometimes, let's say you do have your mission and vision, you set your set schedule to work on this. How do you stop yourself and say, hey, you know what? This is the time allotted. Okay, now I've done this. Now let's move forward. Carlos, you may be into research really deep, and you're like, okay, I gotta do literature, but don't you ever feel like, man, but just hold on, there's something here that can really help me with this? Like, how do you guys like fight against that desire wanting to keep going on doing one thing but you know that if you do keep going, it's gonna mess up other things.
Well, I mean, Carlos said that you had the list of 2 to 3 things, right? So if you allocate like 4 hours to the most important one or the morning. So if lunchtime comes and you're not done, then you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, I got to put it aside and switch gears and tackle the other 2 things in my list.
But what helps you say, okay, I'm gonna put it away?
The time limit. Like you said, I'm gonna tackle it first. So first thing you get to work, this is your most important task, and you give yourself until lunch to do as much as you can, and then after that, switch gears. The other thing is that the book talks about a lot is delegate. So me, I'm a boss and I have staff, so I fucking delegate like crazy. Right? It's like, man, give this to my staff. You guys, maybe you're not supervisors, but Hoser, I think you've told me that you work with other teams or you're kind of like in
Yeah,
charge of assigning.
yeah.
So just delegate that shit, dude.
And that's actually this is one of the reasons why I'm asking about time management, because I think where my work is evolving into is more like that, right? And if I'm not at least have something steady, then I don't know. I think I may fail, you know. So and that's not what we want, right?
And sticking to delegating, that book was so ahead of its time. I think it was written in like the year 2000 or something like that. But it was talking about like, so if you don't have staff to delegate things to, then you hire staff. And that one was arguing like to like India or some like outsource it to like an assistant for like very, very cheap. But now you don't have to do that, right? Now there's like AI. So like I just recently got Microsoft Copilot at work. Oh my God, man, it saves so much time. It's like my own little assistant. I just give it all the tasks I needed to do, and it saves me a lot of time.
You should have done this when the AI episode hit.
I know, yeah. No, I just got it though. It's called Microsoft
So
Copilot.
we'll hold on to that thought of the delegation to India. Carlos, remind me of that, because that's kind of where I want to end this conversation. But before we continue with that, so this is I feel like kind of like what I talked about Carlos and how he structures and stuff. His day. I have two quick questions about that. One, do you guys structure your time in terms of time blocks or like 30-minute blocks, or just like today I'm just gonna do 3 things? How do you guys do it?
Okay, I think we're beating around the bush. I think Edgar hit the nail on the head when he said it's about mission and vision. So I think that everything else will fall in place if we're able to identify that. And I find myself in a similar position than you. They're like, I don't think I've clearly identified what my mission and vision are. So I think we need to do that, and then everything else will be irrelevant. Why? Because ultimately, we're all dead. Everyone here will die. Some soon rather than later, but that's 100% guaranteed. There's not even a 1% chance that we'll live forever. No, it's 100%. We're all dead. So once you take that to heart and realize that your body will be a corpse that's cold, that's decaying, that your present manifestation of whatever it is you think you are will cease to be, maybe that'll put a little flame on your ass and we'll identify what our mission and vision are. If not, then keep cruising the way you're cruising. Because ultimately, maybe you might be happy the way you are and you don't need to change. Maybe you don't need goals. Maybe you just need to clock in, clock out, be with your loved ones, hang out with your dogs. There's nothing wrong with that.
But
Obviously, he's not okay with it. He brought it up,
no,
right?
but
But that's why
I
I'm
feel
taking
like
it back to the root.
Yeah.
The root is what you mentioned of the mission and vision, and why a mission and vision is important. Because we're gonna die.
but
Yeah.
I think what you said was very general, and this is kind of the problem what I have with vision and mission, where it's like just create a goal, just have a vision, and everything will fall apart. It's like saying just go to the gym and you'll be healthy, dude. I can go to the gym and I'll stand there and I can tell you what the heck do I do now if
You
I
have to
don't
have
know
a
what
plan.
exactly.
You have to plan it, Hoser.
Yeah, but okay,
Exactly.
so I'll do 30 minutes cardio, cool, and then you read an article, hey, don't do everything cardio. What's wrong with you? You gotta do weight training. It's like if you don't know how to really work out, and there's people who say, hey, dude, you only need 12 minutes. Like trainers, I heard it, like you do 12 minutes, like that's good enough. But I could spend there an hour. If I don't know the details on how to handle those, of how to do that, then how am I gonna achieve my mission and vision?
Yeah,
So I don't think it all falls in place. You need some sort
agree,
of
'cause
guidance in that sense.
we'll go to Gian because I was gonna ask Gian what's going on with this gym thing and why does he have to go to the gym to achieve whatever he's trying to achieve. But before I go there, I want to touch base on what Carlos said about death is getting closer as we get older. So I heard this like podcast episode on time, kind of like what we're talking about now, but it was called The Perception of Time, and this phenomena called time compression, which means that as you get older, the passage of time will in your mind will go faster than when you were younger. So if you guys can remember as kids when you were in summer break, do you remember like it felt like forever, like you were
Absolutely.
like it was so long? And now like we're already in August. To me, the year has gone so fast. Like what the hell? We're before you know it, they're gonna have Spirit Halloween up and like the Starbucks. What's that drink called? The one that
The
Pumpkin spice. Yeah, the
pumpkin
pumpkin
soup. Once
spice
that one
latte.
comes out, like that means it's already the year's over already. As soon as it comes out, because like yeah, from Halloween to Christmas goes really fast. And so the term is called time compression. So the older you get, the faster that time will pass by. And that should also light a fire in your ass, Hoser, because not only are we getting older and we're approaching our death date, but it's going at a faster rate than when you were younger.
Yeah, I agree.
You're saying it's procedural. Is time just going faster because your time is spent for others? I mean, back then it was about the individual. I felt like I was like
a good
in the
one.
summer break. Just looking at that, like the example, I did things
It's
for
because
myself.
No,
we're on autopilot.
the argument is because we become monotonous and routine like, and the monotony and the routine processes become lumped in your brain as like you've done it so many times that it becomes one thing. So in your brain, as you look back, it's like you did nothing the whole year because it's like everything was the same. But when you're a kid, there's novelty and new experiences. So you're creating like a bunch of blocks in your head that are all different from each other. And so it seems like you had way more time as a kid because you did way more many things. You were like living in the moment, creating new memories and experiences and trying new things. But the more routine and monotonous it is, the more your brain will lump it all into like one block. And so when you look back on this year, you're going to be like, what the hell did I do? I didn't do anything. Like everything looks the same. And so that's why it goes faster.
Yeah, I want to latch on to what Edgar just said and that you kind of mentioned in disdain, Hoser. Travel is really good for distorting time, but in the opposite sense, because your brain is so stimulated from a different environment that so much happens in a day that it feels like it stretches out forever because you're figuring out everything as you go along because everything is different and your brain gets activated. Similarly to how we used it, I don't know, 20,000 years ago to be able to navigate a new environment, to orient ourselves, to just get our bearings. And so, I need to emphasize to you that you should try traveling, man. I mean, I'm not telling you to go to Asia because you might not survive the trip, but maybe go to Mexico, go to Mexico, go to Aguascalientes, go to Zacatecas, even go to Tijuana, man. Like it's okay. You'll make it across the border all right. Maybe go to Ensenada.
I go to
I
Chile
mean, you
Vista.
could
That's far enough, bro.
go to Vegas. I mean, something easy, like, yeah. But yeah, dude, the monotony, the routine are, I think, what's leading to you, Hoser, bringing this topic up
So
because you feel like you're wasting your time. And
no,
yeah, that does.
actually, hold on.
Okay, go.
I'll tell you why. Well, yeah, yes and no. But I'll also tell you another reason why I brought this time up. But before I do that, I'll go with. I want to ask Gian one thing. So we're talking about tasks. We have tasks of work, of school, you know. But what about when tasks are a little bit random? That with you have children, right? You're not gonna tell your kid, all right, kid, from 3 to 4, you're gonna have dinner, right? I mean, you could, right? But if your kid's like, I'm not hungry, Dad, I don't know, or something happens, he gets sick, your schedule can go. And so sometimes if you said, hey, I'm gonna go to sleep, I'm gonna have the kids go to sleep at 8, sometimes that 8 o'clock can be pushed till 9. So how do you handle that? Like, how do you you can't necessarily time block in certain scenarios like that. How do you get back on track to have some sort of time schedule?
To cope with that, you just have to reschedule whatever you had to do. I mean, using the kids going to sleep at like 8 o'clock, that's, I think, a bad example because 1 hour difference is not going to change what I do.
Right.
after they go to sleep. If I had planned on setting up for a birthday party or like getting the gift bags ready,
Mhm.
like that's fine. You have to also ask for help too from a partner. And it kind of goes with delegating.
The
Right?
delegating.
If you have a task, you have a 4-hour block, and then something random pops up, and it's going to increase that task length to 6, or the other task takes priority, then you got to delegate.
Yeah, with my kid hoser, I was scheduling time blocks for cleaning my place up. Dude,
Mhm.
and it was taking me like an hour or 2 hours, and I was like, man, this is so long. And it was cutting into the time that I get to spend with my kids. So from now on, I'm like, you know what? You're cleaning too. So now I make him, yeah, he started like vacuuming and washing the dishes. And in the beginning, it was kind of hard because like he didn't know how to do it. So I had to like step in afterwards, but he's getting pretty good at it. And so now it actually does cut the time. So delegate, incorporate.
That's cool. And then he has time to play like that. And that's awesome, dude. And that's cool. Is that like how you kind of like get him in, like you invite him into, I guess, your schedule. And I think Edgar has always been advocating for that. Invite your kid into whatever you're doing, right? Into your time block. Which then kind of brings me to like kind of how we're not gonna wrap it up yet, but this is kind of like bringing the time conversation to a descent. So you guys were talking about like what really brought you this conversation is because I don't have a purpose or anything. Maybe, yeah. I was like, yeah, I guess kind of. It's still from like the same conversation we've had since episode 2, right? But the thing was that lately I've been realizing that when family members see, and this is outside of my wife and my dogs, see that I have a time off, like a day off, I feel like they're trying to hijack my time. Meaning, oh, you have time off? Oh, do you think you can take me here? And I'm like, all right, trying to be nice. All right, let's go, right? But you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the store and back. But that 15-minute trip elongates into something so much long, and I'm like, dude, I wasted an hour and a half. Like, no, ahora me llevas acá? Can you take me here now? Oh, no. It's like, dude, like they kind of hijacked you. And the other day I was thinking about that. It's like, dude, you try to help them with one little thing, and you give them the hand, and they just took everything.
The problem with you, Hoser, is that you're a yes man. You say yes to everything. I know how you are, dude. And you probably do it at work too.
Yes.
Is like someone at work comes and is like, hey, can you help me with this? Even though it's like not part of your job, you're like, oh yes. So it eats up into your time. And that's two things are going on. One, you're weak for being a yes man. And two, you say yes because you don't have a goal for yourself that you're like, no, because I already have this other important thing. So you're like, well, I have nothing better to do. So yeah, I'll do it.
Well,
That's why you need to have your priorities set straight.
But, and this is where I kind of want to get, and that's true. But here's the other topic. Shouldn't the other people know or be considerate?
They won't know until you tell them. I have to voice.
It's up to you.
Yeah, you have to
say
convey
no.
the message.
I have to step in here to defend Hoser. I think we all struggle with setting personal boundaries. We all struggle with setting personal boundaries, and we can all be better at that. But I do second what Edgar is saying. And no, I take it back. I think Hoser doesn't know or doesn't want to admit what his purpose is.
Oh, Jesus.
I think I put it in the chat. Hoser, you're a very religious man. And I think like if your goal and your mission and vision is to praise the Lord and Jesus and be a good Christian, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's not something I would choose for myself, but if you chose that as how you want to live your life, that's very respectable and very honorable. If your mission and vision is to be really helpful at church, to participate with the music, to setting up the tech stuff, to doing the videos for the church, to being a pillar of that community, be clear on that and set your goals around that. And everything else will then fall in place.
Now, going with I'm not saying I agree. I agree that it comes down to a mission thing. I think that's one of the things. But where I kind of want to bring it to the herd is this hijacking situation. Like Carl said, there needs to be boundaries. Sure, I agree. But Gian and Edgar were saying, like no, people, they're not considerate of your time, right? And so if you give them a little bit of leeway, if you say yes, boom, they'll take everything, right? I feel like the world's like that, right? Society can be like that. companies can be like that, right? Work can be like that, right? I was talking to some coworkers the other day, and they were saying how, like, yeah, Google, yeah, they'll give you free food, free dry clean, free laundry services, free whatever. But what are they really getting from you? Your time, right? Instead of doing your regular 8 hour 5 days a week, you can spend their 12 hours, even more a day, and all 7 days, right? So there's something there where our society, or like kind of like Carlos was saying, the powers that be, they understand this. They understand that your time is valuable, and they're trying to hijack.
I mean, this might be just for a short amount of time before AI is able to replace a lot of what software engineers are doing nowadays, right? Like I feel that we're like maybe 5 years away from that. But we are essentially wage slaves, right? This is something I've mentioned before, and this is something you mentioned today, Ozer, about that ship meeting we had years ago in which someone came and told that to our face. And I can speak for myself, I wasn't ready to hear that from someone in that context. And so time is a commodity. Uh, these are some, left-wing critiques. The big companies and owners of society understand that, and the way they've structured time, particularly like the clock time, is not for our benefit, but it's for their benefit of our energy and working hours, right? And so it circles back to a lot of what we've mentioned of like, okay, who are you? What are your goals? What are your mission and vision? What are you going to do? Right? What do you want?
So do you think that those people who fought for labor laws, were not really fighting for human condition, but they were fighting to preserve their time? Would you
Yeah,
say
I mean,
their
you mentioned
mission values?
you mentioned something really interesting, right? Like we take for granted a weekend. We take for
Mm-hmm.
granted an 8-hour working day.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give that to us.
We had to fight.
Workers from, the 20th century, early 20th century had to fight for these things,
Mm-hmm.
tooth and nail, and had to face severe repression via police and the National Guard. And the United States has a really rich history of resistance, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
May Day is International Workers' Day, right? There's this whole other backstory that we could get into later, but it's a commemoration of the struggles that we as workers have faced to enjoy the conditions that we have today, which include a weekend, which include insurance, which include certain safety standards. They didn't give it to us. If it was up to the owners of society, of our employers, we'd be robots that don't need breaks, that are able to work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for their benefit.
And even them, right? Like, why are they wanting to oppress us in a way so they can have time, so they don't have to work it, right? And and something can build them money so they can have time to do other stuff, right?
I mean, we have enemies, and we mentioned this in the last podcast episode, right? We have very clear enemies, which include Starbucks, which include Microsoft. Thank you very much, Edgar. But these people who own these companies, we also need to have a certain amount of compassion for them if we want to be all Zen, because they themselves are slaves to the system. There's not an amount of power that will satisfy them. There's not an amount of wealth that would satisfy them. They never have enough. These people, like the CEO of Apple, what's his name? Tim Cook or something? He wakes up like at 3:45 in the morning to start crossing things off his to-do list. He
Yeah,
doesn't sound
exactly.
that much different than your regular wage slave, except maybe he has a much higher income and a lot more responsibilities. But if you were to ask me, I don't think that means the dude is happy. He probably goes to a psychotherapist to deal with depression, anxiety, and a whole host of mental health issues that we collectively face as a society. So what I'm saying is that even the owners, the oligarchs of society, like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, they're not happy. We're all slaves to the system.
One thing I do like about the Gen Z, like the younger kids, even though they have a bunch of problems, dude. One thing I do like about them is that they question the system a lot more than we do. Like I've noticed the Gen Z workforce, they kind of challenge me in terms of like what they wear to work. what time they show up and stuff like that. And they question the traditional like 8 to 5, and it's like, why do I need to work that long? Like I could do it at home, or I don't need that much time to work. And so they're questioning like, why do we need to have that traditional work structure? A lot of them are working for themselves, even though we criticize it, like doing TikToks and all that. But I mean, they do it on their own schedule at their own time. And yeah, they're questioning the entire work system a lot more than millennials and boomers, and they're trying to take that power back. So I do admire them for that. But the reason why Google has like the gym and restaurants and dry cleaning and all that is to try to get the worker to like submit themselves to violating labor laws, right? So it's like, well, they
Like,
chose to be here. They chose to like stay and work
so,
extra hours. We're not forcing them.
Jen,
It's a small, for a company like that, it's a small investment to put it to the employee, because the employee feels like, oh, the company cares for me. They're more compassionate. So maybe I should work a little bit more, continue to add hours. And the mission of the company is to deliver a product. So it may not align with yours, but ultimately the company's trying to squeeze out everything they can out of you to ensure that their product is
right,
delivered and it meets the masses.
yeah,
So
and in a
somebody
way,
like Tim Cook or the CEO, they have these,
yeah,
they bear these huge responsibilities because they still have to deliver a product, and how to get, that's their mission: deliver product, make money for the shareholders. That's their goal. To get to that point, they're gonna have to delegate to their subordinates, and then they also in turn delegate on and on and on. And so one small investment, dry cleaning a gym, maybe like a couple $100 versus your time. Your time could be an additional 2-3 hours, and let's say you're being paid at $150 per hour. Already there, their investment is 200, yours is at 450. So they're already squeezing 150, an extra 150 out of you.
So the other reason why I kind of thinking like about time being hijacked is because, kind of like you guys were saying, we have 8 hours left, right, after work, right? And now, kind of how we discussed it in the past with social media and stuff, there's so many factors out there trying to take your time, right? All these apps, whether it be Netflix or Instagram, or, like the CEOs have gone out and said the goal is not to get just viewers, it's just to consume time. I mean, even when we're publishing this, right? The biggest factor in our platform is time viewed, right? Time consumed. The more time you have them viewing something, it's the better for you, right? So how would you relate that? Like, wouldn't you see that as like timing being the new currency, right?
Yeah,
And
I agree with you on that one, Hoser. I like to look at time with my hourly rate as a way to like say yes or no to things, because so at work my hourly rate is like in the 40-50 bucks, something like that, but then you add the overhead and all that, and it becomes like the actual company hourly rate is like closer to 200 to 300 bucks. So when people ask me to do things, or I'm trying to decide what to do, I look at it that way. It's like, my hourly rate is worth 200 to 300 bucks. Is this worth 200 to 300 bucks? Yeah, scrolling TikTok and all that is like, damn, this is such a waste of time and money. Like, I can't believe I'm burning like 200 to 300. So that could motivate you to like really look at time as like an
so,
actual currency, like you're
right,
saying, like dollar wise. But
Yeah,
Carlos,
but I would push back. Like, I wouldn't say your time is worth $1,000 an hour, or 10,000, or 100,000. Like, there's no monetary value that will be able to adequately capture what a minute of time on this earth is worth, being healthy and centered with a mission and vision. You can't put a price on it. And that's how I think the system traps us. Like, it manipulates us to kind of play by its rules.
mm-hmm.
And the more we realize that our time is, there's no not an amount. Like, how much do I need to pay you for you to do something because I tell you to do so, because I need you to do it, because you're going to make me money? It's kind of an absurd concept that we accept, and that keeps society marching the way it's been marching, right? So I think we need to really think differently.
I disagree. I think ideally in a utopian society, yeah, I mean your time is priceless, but we live in a capitalistic society, so if you really want to change your habits, then put a price on your time, and that will help you with like, yeah, this, if my hourly time is like 200 to $300, then I'm not gonna do this task. That will help Hoser say like, no, turn things down, because it's like, this, my time is just
Sure,
not worth it. You put a
I
sure.
price
mean,
to it.
I see that, but that's another fallacy you say. We don't live in a capitalistic society. We lived in a mixed market economy in which the oligarchs are subsidized by our taxes and they're not allowed to fail. We subsidize industries that are particularly harmful to the health of planet and living communities, such as the oil industry, the military industrial contractors, big pharma, banks, while us average people, like if you don't make ends meet, you have the freedom in this country to live in the street. So we don't live in a capitalistic society. If we really lived in a capitalistic society, 2008, when the banks failed, the government would have been, well, supply and demand. You failed, you broke, you lost. Oh, no, no. The government stepped in and bailed out the banks, just like they'd step in and bail out Boeing. So that's another fallacy we need to come to terms with. We don't live in a capitalistic society. We lived in a mixed market economy in which big oligarchs are not allowed to fail, but your individual family units, they could do as their money will allow them to do.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that one.
Using time as your currency, though, I guess you are the ultimate judge of what your time costs. If it's priceless, then great, then you shouldn't work as much, or you shouldn't put in as many hours with the company. You should find things outside of work that fulfill you, which goes back to your mission and vision. So, like for Hoser, what do you want to do after work? Your work is 8 hours, for example. Then you got to travel time, so you include travel time. It's 9 hours.
that's the thing. Like for example, okay, like what you said. Like, what do you want to do after work? I can tell you a million and one things, but then
What
I
do you
start
do
thinking,
after work?
hold on. But then I started thinking about like my parents, right? Or like my dad or like my father-in-law. They work hard, arduous jobs. After 8 hours, 10 hours of work, you tell them, what do you want to do? They're like, dude, I just want to sleep. I'm tired. So it's like, would you tell them like, oh, you're not managing your time or you don't have a mission and vision purpose?
No, that's different.
Like,
Every job is a little different, and depending on your physical needs, it's a little different.
so
Like if you're working an arduous job, laboring for 8 hours, it's very tiring. It's like working out for 8 hours or exercising for it.
No,
So
I
do you?
mean, I think the question is valid, and I think that they'd have a valid answer. I think they'd say, "I'm providing for their ass. I'm busting my ass so that they don't have to bust their ass. I'm busting my ass so that they have a roof over their head. I'm busting their
Yeah,
ass so they have food on the table. What else? Can I
they had
watch a
a
soccer game now?"
they had a mission and vision, which was to create a better life for their kids, and they came over here to the U.S. and they've accomplished that mission, and they're doing it.
So now, do you understand how frustrating it could be for them to see a Gen Zer and be like, everything I've done, and then at 23 I was already married, and you're like, ding, 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 ding,
I know
like
it is kind
dancing,
of
like,
kind of funny, right? Like they come over here to give us a better life, and then we are having a better life, and there's like, this motherfucker's lazy or whatever. Hey, I wanted to go back to Gian, because I guess Gian would be a good example of like what the hell's going on. So you mentioned that you had a goal of working out, and then Carlos said, why did you stop going to the gym? And then Hoser at some point said, if I go to the gym, I'll be lost because I don't know what to do. So that goes back to like having goals and stuff. I mean, why? First of all, why do you have to go to the gym? And what is your goal? If your goal is to get fit, you don't have to go to the gym. You could do that like another way. So what's your goal, Gene? Why did you stop?
It's
And then let's help you adjust time so you can do it.
true. Going to the gym is not a goal. Losing weight would be the goal. Being able to increase your strength, 10%, for example. That's a goal. How you get there it can be done via different methods at home, via dumbbells, but calisthenics, or going to the gym to try to get that mindset. You see other people, so you want to be like, you want to go to
Okay,
the gym and
go a step
exercise like
higher.
other
Then
people.
why do you want to lose some weight? Why do you want to get a little bit stronger?
To be limber enough, flexible, strong enough to continue as the kids get older, be able to be engaged physically in their life. So if they're doing sports, if I put them in extracurriculars, I want to be a part of that. I want to be able to participate with them. That would be like the long-term goal, right? I wouldn't want to just continue to gain weight, then I can't run, I can't walk, and then I'm sitting. I'm not a participant.
Okay.
I'm just sitting on the sidelines watching them. I'd rather be engaged.
Okay. And what was the problem with the gym? Like you didn't have time, or what's going on
Oh,
with that?
just yeah, things happened. One of the things, I got tired. I changed my sleeping habits, my routine, to stay up a little bit longer, taking more priorities, or work is taking a little bit more priority. Deadlines have come up, so I've had to kind of adjust my schedule. Once I complete some of these tasks, I should be able to go back to the gym. One thing that Hoser's mentioned about, you go for an hour to the gym, you don't know what to do. I've recently thought, I'd rather you would pay somebody for personal training. They could teach me. Like, it's like $300. It's an investment, maybe 8 classes or 8 sessions. They teach you how to do it. They also teach you food. Or I could just, ask AI or ask Carlos, shaking his head right
You
there.
know why the trainer works is because you've already paid the money, therefore you've made the commitment of time.
Yes.
And that's why it works. It's like, shit, I already paid it, so now I have to go.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you're fucking going is the reason why the trainer works, is you actually put the time in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna push back on that, but no, I think I agree.
What about during lunch? Like, you don't have a gym at work?
I do. I don't use
You
it.
know, the thing that helped me was the fasting. Like, I don't eat lunch. I just drink coffee, or I mean, I have like a light lunch or whatever.
But
But
gotta have energy.
I mean, your body gets used to it.
Can I
Though.
put a bit how you're saying, but what worked for me, but your life is not the same as Gian's life.
No,
It's the same as my
similar.
life.
No,
Yeah,
that
but he
the
has
problem
2,
is,
you have 1, and he has 2, you have 1. They're differences.
yeah, I know.
In a
so
way,
I'm
it's like,
trying
how
to.
can you compare? How can you say I know what to do to someone who you're not living his life the same way?
Okay, kind of. I understand the struggle. Like, once you get out of work, you got responsibilities. You got the wife, the kids. There's chores at home. So I realized, for me, that, and not just for me, but for people that have kids, is like, the free time you have is kind of like at work, because you have your whole lunch hour. So that would be a good time to do whatever are like some important things. Is, instead of eating, go work out, or go whatever is important to you. Like, you have a whole hour to do something. That would be my advice. Is do it at the, like, before you go home. Make sure you put an hour of, or half an hour, whatever, of gym time before you get to your house, because it's clear that once you get home, that shit's out the window. So do it before you get home.
I mean, look, I keep going back to what Edgar said at the beginning. It's all about the mission and vision, and then the goals are coupled to that. But honestly, like, I'll speak for myself, and then I'll point the mirror at you guys. We don't have a lot of goals. Like, you guys are not absolutely committed to achieving X or Y. Gian just said it. I got more stuff to do at work. My priorities changed. My schedule changed. He was not absolutely committed to go to the gym. He had other things that came before that, right? Hoser, I don't know what we could say about you, but I could say a lot of things about me that I'm not absolutely committed to achieving. In fact, I could probably say 2 or 3 things that I'm absolutely committed to, that I'm working concretely towards, right? Like one I just shared with you guys, like I ran that half marathon. 2 is publishing a paper this year, and 3 would be to finish the PhD before next year. I'm absolutely committed to achieving those things. But like, there's like 3 things, right? Then there's a lot of other goals I have that are just wishes that I don't concretely put in material effort and time into achieving.
Mhm.
So going back to the root would be what Edgar said about the mission and vision, and then coupling goals to that, things that you are absolutely committed to achieving. And I want to put an asterisk here in this kind of self-help episode. I'm not a qualified coach to be talking about these things. I'm just talking about my experience and what I see happening with us.
Yeah, and I would actually take it a step further. The book argues, because you said, like, I have some that I'm absolutely committed to, and then some that are like, eh. The book says to get rid of the ones that you're like, meh, because they're taking up space in your mind and you're not committed to them, and so you're kind of just wasting your time on those. So I would, like, those you just get rid of.
So what I see is that those goals are kind of like short-term goals, though, right?
For me,
A purpose is long term, dude. Like,
Exactly. Mission and vision, I always saw it as like long-term, but yeah, in a way, for yours, they are kind of somewhat short-term. Running a half marathon, there's a date for that, right?
yeah.
Writing a paper this year.
No, I would push back because I want to be a fit old man with a sharp mind. That's another goal I have. I want to be strong until I die.
That's a
So,
purpose.
okay,
Hmm.
sure, a purpose. So I want to be fit, strong with a sharp mind. And I think working on a PhD and I think working out go hand in hand towards that.
So a purpose is something that you can never achieve. Like Carlos said, like I want to be fit until I die. A goal is something that's finite, like you're saying,
Hmm.
Hoser, that
Yeah.
short term, and you will. So throughout, so you have a purpose that's like a lifetime thing, and throughout it, you create short term goals in between that align
So
with the purpose, but you can accomplish those.
so then you wouldn't then from what I'm understanding, it seems like if you don't have goals, time management is not attainable in a way.
It goes
But
higher. If you don't have a purpose, you don't have goals, which you don't have time management because you're just, I don't know what you're doing, dude. Honestly, I don't know. I asked you a question. What do you do once you get home? Like, how do you spend those 8 hours?
it varies, man.
8 hours
Day to
is a
day.
long time, man. What are you doing?
Well, no, because I spent 2 hours of those in traffic, so that's 6 hours, and then
So you
I
must love
spent.
fucking traffic then. You spend so much time doing that.
I guess you got to change your hours, Hoser, so you can try to
Okay, and then
avoid
so
the
so
traffic.
okay, so
Get up
do
earlier, go to sleep earlier.
go
Or
but then
move to somewhere closer.
or sleep less, right? Or
What
sleep
the
5 hours,
fuck?
Okay, here's
and
another
then
crazy suggestion. What about public transportation?
Yeah, what the hell? See, if you had priorities and goals, yeah, it would easily align. Because let's say like one of them is like you want to accomplish X, right? You can, like Carlos is saying, you can read up on
Read
it
a
while you're
book.
like, yeah,
Read
you
a
can
book
read a
while
book
on the
about it.
trolley.
Exactly, yeah.
but then what if I'm so into it and I miss my stop?
You just
Nah,
turn
nah,
around,
Hoser.
bro.
You're already creating
And then
barriers.
I'm 15 minutes late and I got to stay 15 minutes later, and then it messes up everything.
Okay, let's continue analyzing. That's already a huge red flag right there. Fucking 2 hours at work, like, so you must love traffic because you spend so much time. Now multiply that by 5. Multiply that by 26 by
No, 56
40. What is
weeks.
it?
Yeah, 56
Yeah,
weeks.
whatever 50 whatever weeks in a year. Multiply that by 10 years, and in 10 years you're spending like, I don't know, a tenth of your life just sitting in traffic, dude.
And traffic's
What
not
a
gonna
fucking
get.
waste of life
That's
right
It's not
there.
going
why.
to improve. So your
No,
2 hours might
it's not.
inflate
It's
to
not.
like
Yeah,
3
yeah.
hours
No,
down
I
the road.
agree.
Okay, what
Now,
else? What else are you doing?
what else am I doing today? So I spend about what, like an hour. So I spend an hour and a half walking my dogs. Then I spend another hour, no, like hour and a half reading my Bible and praying. And then that's 3 hours, only four, maybe
5
four.
with the
So I
traffic.
have
You got 3 hours left.
no. I'm already counting. Like I reduced it to 6 now. I only have 6, right? So first of all, I work 9 hours. I don't work, but anyway, that's another story. And
11
then so
hours, basically. Not at
pretty
home.
much 11 hours is gone, right? And so then, and let's say 3 hours walking the dogs and doing my Bible stuff. So then I have 3 more hours, right? I have 1 hour to eat dinner, so that's 2 hours. And those 2 hours, those are I guess the free time I have. But then that's where I need to balance it with my wife. And then if I wanted to work out, where do I work out? What time?
Well,
Because
you
working out,
mentioned the
you
walking
say
dogs. That's good.
you say it's 20 minutes, so then 20 minutes turns actually into an hour because I need to take a shower, I need to kind of get changed, I kind of work slow, and then I had to go to the bathroom. That's another 30 minutes, and it's because
What
sometimes
the fuck?
I think you need to. There are places, areas that you can improve on, Hoser.
and then after that, I'm like, dude, I think I'm kind of hungry. So bam, I'm kind of hungry again. So bam, here you go. There's your 6 hours. So I'm like, dude, oh, I forgot to do that. Oh, my mom was calling me that. Oh, you know what? Why didn't you come visit me? It has been like 4 months you haven't seen me. So I'm like, okay, I'll go there. She wants to spend maximum amount of time. And then I'm like, dude, I need to squeeze her in. Where do I squeeze her in? Well, I sleep less.
Hey,
And so
it sounds
The
like
lack of
time.
goals and stuff leads to this like unhealthy lifestyle because you have stress and all that you feel like you have to eat, and then you eat unhealthy, and then that cuts into your sleep time, which
I
getting
don't feel
lack
I
of
have
sleep
to
makes you
eat.
more stressed out, makes you more likely to eat unhealthy. So this is all just a
It's like
huge
a
vicious
positive
cycle.
feedback loop.
Exactly.
It's a positive feedback loop of lack of mission, vision, goals. But you probably, like I said, man, like there's nothing wrong with your mission and vision being
No, no,
Jesus
no.
He
and
doesn't have one.
your church. I think he does. I just think he's too afraid to admit it or something. Like if you were to say, Hoser, my mission and
No,
vision is to be a good Christian, there's nothing wrong with that. But then act in accordance to that and make your time line up with your mission and vision. And let me
but
interrupt for a second. Like if I put yourself in my position, like I see so many things that I would do differently. For example, I would bike to work from Imperial Beach to Point Loma, and I would get the exercise out of the way. I would shower once I get to work, and then I would have some good healthy breakfast. And then I'd bike my ass back to work. And it'd be what, like 2 hours maybe, which is about the same amount of time that you're spending in traffic, but you're getting in exercise.
but you're
But you're
doing it
not me. You're
one
not
way,
me.
one way. So 2 hours back.
It's fine. No, I'm
So
exaggerating.
you're adding 2 more hours.
No, I think I mean I don't know how long the bike ride is. You could look it up, but I would reckon it would be like 1 hour 30 minutes if you're going at a decent pace. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I haven't been in San Diego in a while, right? I mean, there's that option, and then there's the option of taking public transportation, which is surprisingly efficient in San Diego. I know because I used to be a bus driver there. I know there's going to be a route that'll take you close to downtown San Diego or Point Loma, and I know that there's going to be a bus that'll take you really close to where you work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of habits. What I'm telling you to do is I'm telling you go to walk, take a hike through the jungle, through this uncharted path with the machete that you're gonna have to, hack through the vines so that you do something different. That's what I'm asking you to do by taking the bike and taking public transportation to work. What you're doing is you're following an established hike that is clean of debris, that is well traversed, that is a safe route. So which one are you gonna take? You're gonna take the one that's easiest for you. You're gonna take the habit one. You're gonna take the low hanging fruit. And to make changes, I think that's the effort we need to exert.
Yeah,
Pick
remember
up.
what I talked about, the novelty and creating new experiences is what leads kids to feel like they're living their life. Yeah, you got to go outside your comfort zone, Hoser. Otherwise, it's in your mind it's going to feel like you're wasting your time and you're wasting your life away.
See, and I think, I didn't want to make this episode about me and like, hey, let me tell you what I think. But fine, whatever. But I think one of the things to me,
If it's kicking
I
in,
think
Hoser.
that I know, right? That I know, right? That I think what irks me is this idea of, yeah, just have a mission and vision, and everything will be fixed. Like, no, dude, because life
Mm-mm.
can change. Life changes. Right now, I can be like, yes, I want to be CEO of X company, and then it's like, bam, you get sick, bam, you get in an accident, I have no arm. Boop, there you go, my life changed. Then what do?
No,
It's those changes, those abrupt changes in life, because life happens, right? That it's like how do you tackle them in such a way that they don't mess up with your time. Now, but before we continue though, I do want to say, and before we kind of wrap it up, I do wanted to bring up something that Edgar said at the beginning, and that's the saying no. And I can admit that I am bad at that. I cannot say no, right? How do you combat? I mean, easiest, just say no, right? But like, how do you get comfortable with that? You said get out of the comfort zone. I think one of the things that would make me get out of the comfort zone is saying no.
but dude, you don't say no because I told you, because you don't have a reason to say no. You have
Yeah.
all this time. You're like, I mean, I have a lot of time because you don't have your priorities set. So it's easy for you to say yes, to fill your time with nonsense because you don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Just looking at your
I mean,
daily
look,
looking at your daily schedule, Hoser, like you can combine things. Like if your
Yeah.
Bible studies, maybe that's a podcast, maybe it's online, something you do
Bible
on
studies
traffic.
while you're like doing the public transit.
Yeah,
I mean, for me,
exactly.
I would move
Okay.
closer so you're not in traffic. But obviously, you have a house, right? So you can't move. So then, what Gian said is the best one is to wake up earlier or later and avoid traffic, and that will give you so much time back.
And actually, that's one of the reasons why I've been waking up earlier. That's why, like when Carlos said, "Let's wake up at 6," cool. Because the other thing, let's say, okay, forget the work week. Fine. I'm like, it is. Sometimes I've been like, it is what it is. And honestly, to me, I kind of admitted it. Like, it is what it is. But the weekends, though, that's when you kind of have to take advantage of, right? And it's like, if your weekends are going to waste too, then it's like, then there's an issue there, you know. because the idea is like you have 9 hours, 8 hours, right, that you're not doing no more, right, that people fought for, right, and now we're not using them accordingly, right? So
And then the other thing you said is, oh, what if life gets in the way? It's going to change my mission and vision. No, the thing about purpose and mission and vision is that it does not change. No matter, you could lose your arm. I mean, there's people that like lose limbs, lose
what if I
whatever,
want to be a baseball
but if
player
they
and I have
have,
no limbs?
the research shows that if you have purpose and vision and mission, dude, you could lose, like, you could be paralyzed and you can still accomplish your mission and vision because they're just that motivated, and that doesn't change. But your purpose doesn't change. You can still accomplish your purpose.
Look, I wanted to say one thing. It's not about Hoser. What Hoser is explaining is shared by a lot of people, myself included, right? Myself included. And I think everyone here. It's not like we got our shit packed together where we're life coaches and we're able to talk about the topic that Hoser selected. But I do want to say that it's a struggle either way. And that if you don't realize that, then you're at a disadvantage. I think a life well lived is the life in which you choose and select your battles because they're struggles based on what Edgar brought up. Mission, vision, and then goals are coupled to it. So for me, I could tell you that it'll be really difficult for me if I stop exercising and if I start eating junk food and if I gain weight and if I become unhealthy, just as it is difficult to wake my ass up in the morning, go for a run, go to the gym, try to do a meal plan. Neither of those is going to be easy. And so you need to select which difficult path you're going to traverse. Because either way, it's going to be hard. It's difficult to be in the position you are in now, Hoser, of feeling your time go through your hands as if it were water. And it's going to be probably harder, or if not just as challenging, to say no. And I think that goes for all of us. The path that we're traversing isn't some cotton candy land, right? We live in a really violent society that has really sharp constraints on our time, and we need to choose accordingly.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I would agree that, I mean, the podcast is called The Bewildered Herd, and I think most people are probably in the same situation of feeling like their time is being wasted, and even though it's being wasted, they still feel like there is not enough time because of what Carlos said. Is like there's just so many things that are taking your time up, or that want to take your time because they got to make the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, speaking of time, I think that's all we've had for today. But I think it's been good, and I think with what we've talked about today, that's enough to get us thinking, right? Gentlemen, thank you so much. This was good conversation. And so next episode, Edgar will have it, and so we'll see if we can continue this topic. Cool.
Yes, I want to
Cool.
remind our listeners that the Bewildered Herd does not approve of Starbucks or Microsoft. Please forget those companies. They're companies who are polluting and killing the planet. But if they want to sponsor us, then we will do a commercial segment brought to you in part by Edgar.
Einstein Bros.
And
There you
Same,
go.
bro.
Einstein Bros.
Insane. Oh yes, and like, share, subscribe,
There we go.
or else.
Or else. All right, all. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
All right, thank
Thanks.
you.
Peace.
So, Carlos, what does physics say about time?
Okay, as a physicist, as an amateur physicist who wants to become a professional, I'll tell you that physics says that time does not exist. It's just an orientation in our space-time domain, and it's as arbitrary as north and south. When you think about, special relativity, time will distort itself so that the speed of light remains constant, right? So just think about that. Time will adjust, will either pass slower or faster so that the speed of light remains constant. So time physically is an arbitrary concept that isn't real. It's just as useful as saying north or south. And that's what physics says about time.
So time could be faster or slower?
For sure, and that's a really famous paradox called the twin paradox, in which a twin spends his time on Earth while the other orbits the Earth at some high velocity. The aging of the twins will be vastly different. So the twin that remains on Earth will age faster than the twin who's orbiting there.
This sounds like an interstellar stuff, man.
Yeah, Interstellar did some homework for sure, with particularly how the passage of time was depicted when they went and did the mission to the black hole. Time passed a lot slower to the people who went and did the mission on that aqua planet versus the astronaut that stayed at base. Time just went by really fast. So just remember that time is a fiction.
Damn.
So why do
my mind?
why do we have time?
Yeah, time is not even real.
I mean, we could go back to what we mentioned earlier about the masters of our society needing some way to regiment our passage of our life here on this planet for their benefit, and they came up with this concept of time clock or having time being measured in chunks of 24 hours.
Blew my mind, man. Blew my mind. That's crazy.